How you doing, guys? Sorry it's been such a long time trying to get this colour reveal video out. It's just been a lot of work and I've been doing obviously little jobs in between. So I hope you guys watch through to the end because I'm going to show you the colour reveal right now and then basically just show you the whole process from start to finish. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, so on to the next part, guys. I want to show you how to basically block these lines on these Honda Civics. You got this fine line at the top, you got the step, then you got this curve as well, which goes from a flat bit to a curve. And then the problem is, as it goes along, it fades off into a fine line. So you can make your own. You want to try and copy another one. The good thing is we got like 3 Honda Civics this shape here. So, but the thing is, they're all different. But I'm going to use the one that's got the OEM paint job on it and then go off of that one. What you want to do is you want to put the next panel on, so you can basically mask off and go straight into the door as well. So once I do the wing and the door, I'm going to block into that as well. So just to get the line right, the flat edges, the flat bits should be fine because you've done that. There's not going to be much you can do with that because obviously there's not too much primer on there as well. So yeah. All right, so what I've done is I've got my black guide coat as well because it's a grey primer. You want to get a black guide coat, you can go over it lightly like this and you can see the line already. And by this stage, you should have had your line pretty good beforehand because obviously you don't want to do a crap filler repair or any shaping and then put your primer on it because otherwise you'll block it through and you'll just burn straight through. So the aim of the game here now is to not burn through the primer. I get my tape and I can always go, so this line on the door is quite pronounced. So there's go off the line here and I go underneath it, tape it across. You can follow the line from the door into the quarter panel and work your way along. And on these, they kick up at the back just a little bit. You can't really see them. So what we've done now is I'm perfectly just under the lip. So what I'll do is I'll block this panel now, make this panel perfect across here into the door. And then I know that line's perfect. And once I finish that, once I've done that edge, I'll put a tiny bit of guide coat on the top of it. And then I'll tape across this edge as well. I'll leave a tiny little gap, make sure it's nice. You can go one step further as well. You can always measure the gap between there and maybe a point there on another panel. But I've been doing it a while now, so I know it's going to be good. Yeah, so if you check it out, so see the step underneath, so you can see that's where it kicks. And then what I've done is I've left the tape so it stops right on the edge. So that line goes all the way along, so it's just under the kick. And I'm only going to block to about here on the door, because once I do the next bit on the wing, I can put the wing on and do it across. You can go all the way across all the panels, that's probably a better idea if you want to do that. But for the minute, because I'm confident of what I do, I can do it this way. But you can always put the wing on and go straight across everything, but I'm going to put the wing on afterwards just so I can get the edges fine and I can do these flat on a trestle. All right, you don't have to go this crazy when you're doing stuff like this, and I know you probably say it's only on a Honda Civic, but it's my friend's pride and joy. And I like making sure everything's like as good as possible, you know what I mean? Because otherwise you don't get the lines nice, you put it in the spray booth, you lacquer it, and there's no going back, you've done it, you know what I mean? Or you put it in the booth, you degrease it, and then it shows all your wobbly lines up. So get the tape on. I know it's a bit of waste of tape, but it's going to save you in the long run. And it's just, yeah, it's just really good to get right, basically. Let's do this. I can do it by freehand anyway with the guide coat. But honestly, this gets it like perfect. I'll stop going on and I'll get to start blocking, just to show you. So what it is, I'll block up to the line. This is 320 on here. It's not too coarse. The primer's on nice and smooth as well, so I don't have to go anything like 180 or anything. You can 180 your primer as well, but I like to start with a 320 because I've got the repairs really nice, so I don't have to stress too much. All right, so now I've done that, I don't want to rub too much. So what I've done is I've not gone too crazy on the other bits because if the line's not right and it needs repriming, I've got to prime it again. So I know this is going to be fine because it's just flat panel, so that's fine. But I'll put a bit of guide coat on here, only a little bit, just near the line. It's just once I tape this up, block it and take it off, I still got some guide coat left on there. So otherwise, if I take this off and rub it, there'd be no line left underneath, if you know what I mean. So now, get my tape, just go about 1 mil above the other bit of tape, depending on how sharp your line's going to be. But these lines are quite soft, so once you've done it, you get a soft block and you can run along the lines and make sure it's consistent all the way along. So now I should be able to take this off. So this is where it gets tricky because I put this on the upper half of the line now. And like I said, where it fades off at the back here, what I'm going to do is create a bit of a triangle inside this. So I'll start from the point. So what I'm going to do is go along the line underneath it. I've gone into the groove underneath because what I need to do now is I need to get this little piece in here nice and straight as well. So what I do is get the block. I showed it in previous videos. What I do is I bring it back just below the edge. So when I go like this, the block is actually going to touch the tape. So it's going to run along the tape. If I put the paper right to the edge, what's going to happen is going to put a massive groove inside there next to the tape. So the plan is trying to keep it off the tape as much as you can. And then I'll work my way along here. And as soon as I'm happy with it, I'm going to tape again onto this bit. And then I can do this panel as well. But what I do is go along here like this, and just go along here like this. Once it's all done, what I'm going to do is take this tape off. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because I don't want to take all the primer off. So once I'm basically 90% happy with it, I'll take the tape off and then I'll spray it with the greaser just so I can check it and mimic the lacquer coat, so then I can check how straight it is. All right, now that one's blocked as well, I'll quickly put a bit of guide coat in the middle one. Don't have to go too crazy with it. So what I'll do now is quickly get the long block and then basically block this bit flat, but I'll do that in a minute. I'll do this bit in here first. Basically I'll go flat, flat, and then I'll put a curve into it, you know what I mean? All right, so I've got the car finished now in 800. So I've done all my blocking. I don't want to bore you with every step of the way. I know I like to ramble on and I'm just trying to give you as much information as possible. But I guess you can ask me in the comments anyway. If you get stuck with anything, just ask me. So a good little tip as well is get some solvent degreaser in a squirty bottle. So it sprays into a fine mist and it mimics your lacquer coat. So I know it's a bit of waste of materials, but it's not if you're checking your repair. So yeah, you go like this and you can look down your panel and you can check. I've checked it so many times now, the lines are awesome. These Hondas come down usually here and they usually have a bit of a step here, like as in they got like a natural crease. It's not crease, but you see it, but because I've blocked it and done a lot of repair work on it now, this is going to look better than the factory finish. So you get the idea. So it's just a little good tip because you don't want to get in a booth and it's all wobbly and then you've just wasted so much materials, as I said before. But the engine bay is ready now. There's a couple of little burn throughs because obviously, as you know, there's a lot of issues around the strut tops, and obviously we don't know what they've done underneath the primer, so hopefully it lasts as long as possible. The customer's obviously aware of what's happened underneath anyway, so this is going to be good. It's not going to get as much abuse as the outside. Yeah, if you watched the previous video, from my experience with the engine bay and this job, I'm not going to be touching anyone else's bodywork again, ever. Unless it's a contact of mine that I know they're shit hot at what they do and I trust them and they want me to do their car, maybe I'll do it. But it's caused me so much stress. All right, so before I do a respray as well, every time I do a respray, I change all the filters in the booth. So I change all the filters. I get brand new overalls as well from my supplier car paint warehouse. And main thing as well, when you're taping, make sure you wash your hands because all the grease from your hands, if you touch the side of the tape, what happens is when you're taping up, you've basically got the grease on the edges of the tape. I've not really had any issues with it, but I like to be fussy with it because it's so much work to get to this point. This is the main part of the job, you know what I mean? When you're doing metallics and stuff like that, you need to spray them at the same, if you're spraying the quarter panel and your door and you're spraying it at 2 separate times, you need to keep the pressures exactly the same, your drop coats the same amount of coats, the temperature, try and get the humidity exactly the same as well, if you can. So I usually write this little chart. So there's the one for the body. I put 3 coats at 2 bar, and I put one coat, drop coat at 1.5 bar. And it's a 1-to-1 mix with thinners. So that's what I'm gonna do on every panel. If you're very worried about it, put all the panels in at the same time, like your doors and everything. All right, enough rambling on. Let's go and get the car and get it masked up and get it painted. All right, so I've got everything masked up now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint the engine bay first, because what I wanna do is I don't wanna be painting the shell at the same time. I'm in there blowing everything. With engine bays, you always get a bit of dirt. It doesn't matter what you do. All these little holes, I've masked up all the big ones. but I don't want to be spraying here and blowing all the crap over the car. So I'll spray the engine bay and then try and paint the shell later, depending on how long this takes to dry. And then, because I'll give it a bake cycle and then demask it and finish masking the shell up and then spray the shell afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it suited up. I've degreased it already. I'm going to wash my hands, put some gloves on and get my air-fed mask. Probably take me about an hour to paint it in between coats, depending on how quick I make it dry. So fingers crossed, it goes well. All right, so I've got my whites on now, got a fresh new set of whites on. This is a tap rag, so I'm just going to spray everything and just basically go over it with like a high pressure and then go over everything and make sure all the lint's off or any bits of dirt. It's all been degreased, so yeah, let's get it done, man. It went so well last night. It did take me a long time. I think it was almost 2 hours painting it. I was trying to get a nice smooth finish over everything. The problem is I don't want a dry finish because it's harder to polish, but I was trying to get a nice wet finish, but then you've got a chance of getting runs. I'll show you all the good bits and any bad bits. I'll be honest about it as well. Yeah, so it's just so nice and smooth over the whole front panel and everything. It's just come out so good. The only bit I was struggling with is the back. You always struggle with the back of the strut towers because it's such a tight area. I can't get my gun in there. So I was trying to get a nice wet coat on. There is one little run up here, so I can just polish that, but at least it's nice and wet because if it was dry, it'd be harder to polish. But yeah, check it out, guys. It's come out so nice, man. There's a couple of little nibs where there's a bit of dirt there. I can flatten polish that bit, but the rest of it, it's come out really good. Yeah, I'm so happy with it. It's come out good. So let's get on and mask the shell and yeah, crack on with the rest of the day. All right, so I'm going to teach you just how to mask a basic window up quickly. It's not the right way, the best way. It's the way I've tried over years, and it's the best way I've tried it possible. It doesn't blow off. There's nothing worse if you're spraying, the tape or paper comes off, and then you're spraying the interior of the car. You're going to basically lose all your money because you've got to replace the whole interior. So there's a good little trick as well, because what you want to do is keep it as a 50-50 like this, because then you know it's got a nice body. But the problem is a lot of people just stick it on. They think that's fine. It just blow off. So you need to make sure you push it really hard like this, and now it is really stuck. So what I'll do is I'll mask this window up and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so I'm ready to put my paper on now. When you rip the paper, I never rip it down because it never goes into a nice consistent line. I usually go this way and then rip it up like that. And what you want to do is, you might not be able to see it on the camera, but this side's shiny and this side's not. This paper basically soaks up any paint or lacquer and it'll seep through. So you want to put the shiny side out so it doesn't stick to it, or soak through it basically. So what I do is I go like this, just stick it to the top bit. The aim of the game is to try and get it as tight as possible, because when you're painting you don't want it blowing and flapping everywhere. So I usually just stick it across like this, and then I fold the bottom over. If you're worried about it coming back off as well, what you can do is just put a bit of tape on there. So if you stuck it well, the main thing you want to do is, because you want the paint on every bit of edge, if you have a look at this, you push the tape, basically so it's touching the body. When you stick it on, you can push it just behind. What happened is, it'll push the tape off just a little bit, but it'll lip underneath. So now, you won't have any sticky tape sticking to the bit you want the paint on. If it's still a little bit baggy, just stick it on the paper, and then pull the paper down. All right, so you can see there's a little bit of movement in it still. It's not, that's like minor. So if you want to make sure it's just a little bit tighter, you can do this as well. I usually just put a bit of tape across, I pull it tight to this end, stick it, and then I push the tape to it. Just helps it, just stops it moving a bit more. Just makes it a bit more sturdy basically. It might be the right way or the wrong way, but this is the way I've tried so many times. I've tried different ways, it didn't work. It's blown off and stuff like that. So this works, I've never had a problem with it. It's all about trying to keep the dust down and things blowing around. So you don't want it baggy, because what happens as well, when you're painting, it creates an air pocket and it'll just blow all the air back off. It'll blow it off onto you, then anything that's on you or any dirt, it'll just land back in the car. So it's about trying to keep it as clean as possible. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to carry on and mask the rest of the show up, but I'm just going to show you how to mask an arch up, because I see a lot of people, they just chuck paper over people's components, they spray the car, it looks great, but then there's spray over a nice suspension, and I don't want to be doing that. So I'm going to back mask this and just show you how to do the arch panel, and then I'm going to carry on just mask the rest up. I'm going to bore you with the rest of it. So my little routine, what I do, this has already been Raptored before, so Raptor bedline, someone's done it before. So what I'm going to do is paint up to the arch. I'm going to back mask it now, paint it, and then before it goes out the spray booth, what I do is I go inside. The lip I've rolled has already been epoxied in between the gap, and then what I'll do is seal it, and then I'm going to Raptor a nice line around to the paint, so there's no broken edges or anything, because what a lot of people do is they paint it and then they leave a bit of bare metal exposed on the back edge and it's going to rust. So yeah, just that tip I showed you just a minute ago, we'll double it up, put it around like this, pull that off, go like that, and then you've got plenty of space going on the back. Stick it like proper hard, make sure your arches are clean and degreased, keep doing it again. And you get what I mean. Yeah, so just basically go around the whole arch like this, and then I'll show you the next bit. But yeah, what you do is just take this, pull it around, roll it, and obviously keep it tight again. Work your way around. I don't know if you've watched Art Attack before, because here's one I've done earlier. And I've just taped it all up now. I've taped the windows. I'm just going to sort out the front end now and just finish that off. I've taped all this nicely. It's all tight. It's not going to blow off as well. It's the worst thing that can happen. You spray and it just pushed the tape off. All right, so everything's masked up now. I've gone a bit crazy with the engine bay. So what I've done is put loads of paper around it because I don't want no overspray in it. I haven't got a downdraft booth at the moment. One day I might get one if I can afford to get it. It's not the cheapest. I'm going to water degrease it and solvent degrease it and just make sure this is all like sound. Just need to put a bit more tape on there. But guys, I just want to get it painted now because it's taken a long time to get to this point. I've just done my 3 coats. I need to do another little marker for this. So that's my 3 coats. So that's the door shuts, the body, and now I'm going to do my drop cut. I usually just put a line for like a drop cut. For a drop coat, I just put a line through it. So it's still drying at the moment. You can still see there. Let this dry off, and I'm going to do my drop coat. So that's 3 coats of the grey. But look at it, man. It's looking awesome. I'm so happy. The lines are looking sick. I get my drop coat on. It give me a nice soft look then. All right, morning guys. So it's the next day now. I couldn't sleep last night. I literally couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited to see the colour. It was quite tricky. It's a very tricky colour to paint because the booth, it's the only time you'd say this in the UK, but it was so hot. It was so hot last night, trying to keep the booth below like 24 degrees or anything to do my drop coat. It was just impossible. And but it's come out sick. It looks good inside and it looks awesome outside. So I'm really happy with it. So yeah, it's like a gunmetal grey colour, which is like a Ferrari colour, but yeah, you can see all the lines, man. It looks so good. The lines are consistent and perfect all the way along. It's come out awesome, man. I'm really happy with it. The door shuts obviously look shinier than any OEM finish you're going to get because they didn't put too much lacquer on from factory. All right, so it's come out lovely, man, this paint job. So I just want to basically go over it and give it my finishing touches. Any little nibs or anything, I'll touch it with a 1500, literally any of the nibs, or I'll go over it with the flat, nice flexible block, and then I'll go with 2000, 3000, and I do it all by hand. I don't even use the DA, because the problem is, one bit of dirt with the DA, you've literally just ruined all of it. So, and you'll be trying to chase with the mop, trying to get it really hot. I like to be able to just put the mop on it and it literally does it in one pass. When you do your double pass, you know it's completely done. I've already started flattening the roof, as you can see here. So this is with 15, and what happens, I've only gone over it lightly, just to take the top layer off, just a little bit, and then what happens is it shows up any nibs. So what I'll do is I'll focus on the nibs. I'll go over it with 2000, just to get those light scratches out, and then 3000 and buff it, and then you'll see. So look, I've started flattening this side, and I've done a really nice job of it, man. Just going along, keeping everything clean, covering up the wheel. Usually I do it with all the panels off, but I just wanted to get the panels on the car so they're out of the workshop. Yeah, I just go like this on every single panel. Because this is a super flat panel, I'm using a solid flat block. I've also got a bendy block as well, which is rubber. And I can do all my like curve shapes and everything. And obviously to do this, you get, honestly doing this, you get the best finish possible. And it just looks like a proper show car, you know what I mean? So you can tell this panel is just completely like nice anyway, because you can see how quick I just touched it. I only went like this a couple of times. And you can see where it hasn't touched the lacquer there. It's completely flat there, and it's just nice here. So now that's enough of the 1500, you can tell I've only just touched it. So you're not even taking any lacquer off at all, like bare minimum. People always worry, you think, oh, if you're gonna flat and polish it, are you gonna take all the clear coat off and there's not gonna be enough left on it? No, if you do a nice paint job and you get it smooth, if you get loads of orange peel, you're gonna have to take a lot of product off. But if you get a nice smooth finish, you can literally just touch it, give it a 2000, 3000, done. Don't touch it anymore. Buff it 3 times and it'll look sick. Alright, so you've got an idea of what I'm basically doing. This is the compound I've been using for a while now, G360. This is my yellow top, and this is my ultra fine. With metallics like this, you won't even notice the difference between these two, but I always get up to the third one anyway. I finish off in 3000. I've tried to go up to 4000 before, 5000. I don't see if it makes any difference, because if you get this down properly, as soon as you touch it with the compound, it looks awesome anyways. All right, so now I've put some bits on. It's starting to look proper sick, man. So the front wings are just placed on at the moment, because you can see the gaps off a little bit. And that mark there is just a shadow. See the light? So before anyone drops in the comments saying it's patchy there, it's not. It's just the light. But it is sick, man. Honestly, jeez. The metallic in that just looks crazy inside and outside. So once outside, it looks different again. And when it's in the dark, it looks proper, like almost black, if you want to say. So like looking down it as well, and it looks like chrome in areas as well. All right, if you're a true car person, you know the main thing is, the exciting parts are getting new parts. What I've noticed is I get to relive getting new parts constantly when I'm building customers' cars, because I get to open the new parts. We've got these, basically these, what do you call them? So in America, you call it fender, or they call it a flitch panel brace, but they call them fender brackets. Basically just go inside on here, and it's basically to support the sort of like the flitch panel and stuff going up and down like the flex. So it should basically go behind the bolts for the door catch, and I got to put a riv nut over here. Yeah, check out the merch. Woo! No. Yeah, so I'll take this bracket off here for the bonnet cable. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, so ultra racing brackets. They're a nice bit of kit actually. Check it out, guys, it's looking sick. So we painted the wheels as well, and obviously done loads of all the accents sort of gloss black. We've left the mouldings off for the minute because Once it goes off for PPF, I think they're going to go underneath the front mouldings. We're not sure yet, so we'll leave those off for the time being. It's gone off for a mad turbo build, so it's going to be sick when it comes back. We've done a lot of bits to the engine bay for Richie as well. So we've put the Nuke Performance catch can in. We put some riv nuts in and put those in. He's got the, I think it's a Cusco brake stopper. We've put the bigger master cylinder as well, because he's got rid of the ABS and he's just making it all clean. The Cusco strut brace, the Chase Bays power steering kit. And it's just going to look wicked. Once it's all in the engine bay, it's just going to look nice and clean. We got some last bits to do on it. We got some brackets to go under the headlights to sort of fix the gap out here. And obviously the lights are just finishing off a lot. So they obviously, I know they're tinted, but they let through loads of lights and they're legal. So that's fine. But it's just looking wicked. I wish I could keep this car, as I do with most of the builds. So the arch gaps are looking sick now. And once the engine's put in, it's going to come back. We're going to need to raise the car as well, because the weight of the engine is just going to bring it down even more. And it's funny, because since we put the glass in, the whole car's dropped about 10 mil all the way around. So we'll raise it before it goes off for the engine, lift the car up, and then it can go on the trailer to get the engine put in. But check out the back as well. So obviously it's got 2 spoilers on it now, and the lights, it's just set the whole car off. But with any build, my favorite parts are literally like the rubbers. I love having brand new rubbers on cars. It's got a brand new scuttle panel, all genuine. The pieces on the roof as well, all genuine. This is new strips. Honestly, everything we could get new for this car, it's been put on it. So can't wait to see this car out in the summer. And the brakes, obviously, I think my favorite part of the build is probably the brakes. The brakes are so, I've got these on my own car and I know how good they are. So cheers to Tegawa for getting the brakes for us as well. Just, they've sorted us out loads of parts for this build and they've been really handy as they're only up the road. So cheers Tegawa. One thing I always forget to show as well, like look how, obviously you can see how shiny it is. There's no orange peel whatsoever on it. And it's just, obviously you can see all the metallic in the paint. And it's a bit dusty at the moment. Once it's all done and it has the final fit up, it'll become cleaned again and polished and whacked. It looks so sick, man. Like all the edges and everything. I've obviously gone over it all by hand and it's just perfect. Yeah, the spoilers come out so well as well. So you've got the gloss black, you've got the metallic, and then the gloss black lip as well. It's just come out so nice. The metallic depth is just mental. And I haven't even given it its final polish yet as well. Obviously, once I finish a car, I like to sort of go a bit with the yellow top polish to just finish it off. Thank you so much for watching to the end, because you must have made it through to the end if you're here. But guys, check out the merchandise store as well if you can. We've got some new t-shirts coming along. They're basically pretty plain, but they just say DB Works, Work, Build, Inspire, and they're basically nice for the summer and stuff when it actually gets here. But guys, honestly, oh yeah, the colour as well is called Silver Tone Grey, and it's a Ferrari colour. And honestly, it looks wicked, especially in the sun. It's proper, like proper popping. That is it, proper pops in the sun. And at night time, it actually looks basically kind of black. You might be able to see it when you look down at it. It basically sort of turns black. And I don't know why as well, but it goes like a green colour as well. I should know because I do body and paint. But I'll see you guys on the next one. But please hit that subscribe button because we're trying to build the channel. All right, I'll see you soon.